Okay, now let's see. I'm supposed to invite her. All right, let's see here. I need to. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to. Okay. Um, let's see. Hey, Anna. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Um, Anna, I'm trying to figure out how to get my co-host on. If you'll give me just a minute, I'm probably going to restart, okay? Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. There's Charlie. Okay. All right. Hi, guys. Corinne's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I've never done this with a second person before, so guys, just bear with me. If you would, since I cannot hear you, if you would please let me know what questions you have. I wanted to talk today with Corrine about doing transcripts for homeschoolers. She had some questions, especially for Texas as well, because she was getting some misinformation there. So if you would let me know what questions you have in the comments, and I will go ahead and take care of them. One of the reasons why she wanted to talk about transcripts is for those parents who choose to have their kids transition from, uh-oh, you see me sideways, sorry. Okay, is that better? Sorry about that. Okay, very good. All right. One of the reasons why Corinne wanted to help do this was because she knew that there are going to be some home educators who, for whatever reason, want to put their kids into a more traditional system. So I'm trying to see if I could get her to join me. And first of all, I guess the question that I would have for you guys is, if you are homeschooling, why would you want to have them transition into a more public system? What would be some of the reasons? I mean, I know from my experience with home education, being a support group leader and being in co-ops and everything like that, I know why some of my friends went and chose to be in a more traditional system, but I'm just curious as to why in 2018 folks would want to do that. Some of the advantages when I was still homeschooling, and let me just say that my last child graduated in 2015, so I'm only 3 years out from being in the homeschooling environment. But one of the biggest things that I saw was there was this big misinformation about dual enrollment that okay, I've gotten my child from wherever in our homeschooling career all the way to high school, and I just don't have what it takes to put them through high school. So I'm just going to go ahead and either stick them in high school, or I'm going to go put them in dual enrollment. And one of the things that I was able to find out even then was that dual enrollment is a trap, because what it's doing is it is aligning your child whom you've had outside of the system for so long, is now throwing them right into it. And one of the dangers that my husband and I saw about dual enrollment was there was no control over the curriculum, but more importantly, there was no control over who our children would be in the classroom with. Were they in with people who were well above their age? Were these people were they on the up and up, that sort of thing. So that was a big detractor for us. So yes, we stuck it out and graduated all three, all the way through high school at home, stayed totally out of the system. Can you do it in 2018? Yes, you can, except one thing. Depending on what type of assessments that you use, that will certainly be a big issue with the particular amount of alignment that there is going on. All right, so I see Corrine is live, but Corrine, if you could come on with me or jump on this, and that way I can invite you and then we can see you as well, because I know you had some questions about Texas. We tried to learn how to do a two-person Facebook Live through a YouTube video, but I don't think it worked too well. Okay, so if you are not able to answer why you would think it would be a good idea to transition from homeschool into a more traditional system in 2018, I would encourage you to tell me your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think that we should? If I were still homeschooling right now, I would say, you know what, I'm going to keep them out of the system for as long as I can. I'm going to give them as much information as I can while I still have them at home, so that once they are out and about and making their own decisions, should they choose to be involved in the system, if you will, they know what to look for. They know where to navigate. They know where to navigate towards. They know where to navigate away from. And I think that's a really big thing that we're losing in our conversations right now, especially with the misinformation out there about, oh, well, every student succeeds at Killed Common Core. Common Core is very much alive, and it's still there for kids who are in home education, probably stronger now than it ever has been before. And again, it's not only through the assessments, it's through the dual enrollment. The AP courses especially are Common Core aligned. Not only are they Common Core aligned, but they are UN aligned as well. And I know, Jennifer, you have shared with me some of your heartaches about the advanced placement courses. If there is something that you would like me to share with other people about the AP courses, I would love for you to have that information pop up, and then I can share that as well. Okay, if you are interested in making transcripts, hey Anna, if you know Corrine and you can get her to come on, that would be super. I was just telling everybody we were trying to do this where she and I could be on the screen together, her from Texas and me from here in North Carolina, but we didn't quite get that figured out. So if you could bring help her or message her or something. But I wanted to let you know one of the resources that helped my husband and I get through homeschooling in high school. It was this particular book right here, and I know it's backwards, okay? But it says Senior High, a home designed formula, and this was written by Barbara Shelton. It's a few years old. My copy is pretty beat up and marked up, and after having 3 kids graduate, yep, it would be. But she's got all kinds of tools in this particular book. Now, I will tell you, she gives you a lot of information so that if you are wanting to homeschool all the way through high school, you feel encouraged. If you want to do a hybrid sort of thing with your students via public school, homeschool, you can do that as well. I know when she wrote this, she had no idea, or I'm assuming she had no idea, that Common Core was about to really reach into home education. So she's got quite a bit of essays in here on the beauty of dual enrollment. Yes, I know it sounds great, but we have to remember, when we do things like that, when we rush our kids through any sort of education, be it homeschooling or dual enrollment or whatever, we are showing them that they are more worth a dollar sign than we are how well equipped they are. And what I mean by that is, think about the hurry up and learn. I got to hurry up and get through high school so I can hurry up and go get my degree, so I can hurry up and get out there in the job market. Or I can get out there and start my own business, things like that. Now, Anna has brought up Advanced placement parents have no idea that Common Core is in the curriculum. Okay, now Corrine is on, so let me see if I can add her, guys. Okay, let's see. I don't see. All right. Corrine, if you could, would you please like raise your hand or something so I can try to get you plugged in? Because I know folks are really wanting to see you. And let's see. Yeah, okay. I've got the request to be on the broadcast on. So if you want to send me a little request and we'll continue on. And thank you guys. This is the first time that I've tried to do a Facebook Live with someone else. So thank you guys so much for bearing with us. I know that Corinne has some very pointed questions that I think would be good for us to go over. And while I'm waiting for her to come on, if you are doing a homeschool transcript, I'm going to show you what not to do first. And the only way I learned this was through what my dad used to call the School of Hard Knocks. I had tried my best to put a transcript together, thought it looked fabulous. I even added color to it because, you know, I'm such a nonconformist. I wanted my child's homeschool transcript to stand out. So this is what it looked like. Notice there was red, there was blue, all her courses, all the information that you could possibly want, right? The particular college that we were applying to was so gracious, and they sent me this letter, and they said, Ms. Taylor, this is a very impressive transcript, but unfortunately, it is not at all set up like we want. First of all, it needs to be black and white. So it went from nice and colorful, okay, with all the lovely information. Are you ready? It went to this, all black and white. And for me, I was like, oh my goodness. But anyway, that is one of the things that I learned that I'm going to pass on to you as a homeschool mom is don't go all nice and colorful. Go with the status quo, if you will. And when I resubmitted this, the school was much, much happier. And she did not end up going there. So that was all good and well. Now, one of my other children, and this is something that you can have not just going into college, but you can have if you're transitioning into high school. Your school that you're interested in may want to see proof that you have actually registered to homeschool, or that you have some sort of attendance record that proves, yes, you've been homeschooling. And for one of my children, I had to send a letter that, yes, we did homeschool. And here's what the letter said: to whom it may concern. I said, Taylor's Girls Academy, you need to list the name of your school. And I would suggest if you don't have a name for your school, please get one, because when it comes time for transcripts or transferring from homeschool into high school, it really helps to have a school name. So I said, to whom it may concern, Taylor's Girls Academy does not operate on the 180-day school calendar. Now, since I live in North Carolina, it is required at least 180 days. We blew that out of the water. That was just our personal choice, okay? I don't know in Texas where Corrine is if they have 180 days as well. But I said since 2002, we have chosen to operate on a year-round calendar with more time off in December for Christmas. And as my students have aged and progressed, we have utilized smaller breaks in our schooling. Attached are the attendance sheets which will prove out our system. Thank you, and please let us know if we can provide any further records. And then I signed it, and I put Chief Administrator, okay? All right, so I've got somebody from Connecticut. All right, let's see here. Now, Corrine, have you been able to raise your hand to let me know that you're ready to come on? All right, now, going back to the advanced placement, these are also a danger for home educators because these are aligned not only to Common Core, but you're going to find them aligned to the UNESCO, the Sustainable Development Goals. You're going to find them aligned to Marxism and all kinds of things. Now, Jennifer has said, because I shared with everyone that Jennifer has let me know, she's had several heartaches over the advanced placement that her child is going through. And here's what she says. In 2015, my oldest took several advanced placement courses in high school and received 27 credits toward his general college. Now, he graduated from college in May. My next child is getting ready to start AP classes in his senior year. Okay, I understand that AP is really popular, but we really need to understand if we're going to have our kids transition from homeschool into the more traditional public school system, these are some of the classes that your traditional system will look for. Have they been in AP classes? Have they been in dual enrollment? Have they been in an apprenticeship? And these are all flags of alignment to the Every Student Succeeds Act. So we've got to look at homeschooling as, first of all, why am I doing it? And this was one of the things that I would always caution anybody who was thinking about homeschooling. And one of the things that they would always ask me was, okay, Lynn, you've been doing this for a long, long time, so are you going to try to convert me? And even then, before I had a national voice in education, I would say no. It's what works for us. It may not be what works for you. I understand everyone has a system that works for them. However, that was before I learned all about how much the government has overreached into not only through federal education, but through our states as well. And having read the Every Student Succeeds Act, one of the things that homeschooling parents seem to want to ignore is the every student. It's assumed that every student means simply in a more traditional public school, charter school kind of system. No, every student means exactly that. Every single student from every school choice. Now, if you doubt that, if you'll go on my blog, which is commoncorediva.wordpress.com, and type in ESSA and then homeschooling, you'll get a lot of links or a lot of results so that you can take the time, you and your support group, you and your spouse, you and a trusted friend whom you really value their opinion. You guys can go through and look at all the different ways that the Every Student Succeeds Act meant to encompass home education. And the number one way is through the assessments, those nationally normed assessments. Okay, now we have somebody here who's saying their oldest is in 8th grade. If you guys have questions about what you should be looking for if you are transitioning from homeschool to a traditional system, I would love to hear what you have to say. All right, please repeat my, blog address. Okay, very good. All right. Blog, www.commoncorediva.wordpress.com. Now, Jennifer's come back with the AP information. Here's what she's saying. Teachers tell children directly that they recommend the AP courses and that they will recommend them to the teacher in the AP department. Of course, we're going to see people recommend AP courses, dual enrollment, especially your school counselors, because school counselors are in a super position, and this was an initiative that was started by President Obama when he was still in office. Actually, it was started by Mrs. Obama, and that was to take our school counselors and to align them to all this agenda to streamline our children, because they were in the perfect place, I believe was the language, to lead the student and inform the parent. However, if you look at that particular article, and I think it was, if you'll type in school counselors in my blog address, you should be able to find that one, but it was showing you the systematic approach, the professional development from around the country that was taking our school counselors and that was getting them to be almost salespeople for this Common Core aligned agenda. Okay, someone says here in Connecticut, yes, the AP classes are being recommended as well. Absolutely, they are. And it doesn't surprise me because what was advanced placement when my kids were going through, it had not been attacked by the Common Core yet, or if it was, it was such in the very early stages. But my children never took them, but they had several kids who did. Point of it is at one point in time, the advanced placement actually meant something. Now it's sort of like a notch on the bedpost, if you will. It doesn't really mean what it used to, but yet because the system, the Common Core machine, wants us to believe it means something, they're going to look at it. So it's kind of like dead weight, if you will. Now, let me get back to the transcripts. I see Corrine has not really been able to join us yet, and I'm so sorry, Corrine, because I know that you wanted to be on with me. So if you could just let me know that you're here, I can try to invite you. I've got the invite tab on, so you can raise your hand, and I'll see about adding you. But I wanted to address this for those who do homeschool, and this is from the Formula High School book that I was telling you that I used to help put together transcripts for my kids. I got a question from a lot of people who were putting together their own transcripts. How in the world do I take things that my children do every day? How do I take and put them into a transcript that looks like this? Okay. For example, on this particular transcript, I have the course name, and I'm just going to run down it. I had English 1, 2, and 3, pre-algebra, algebra 1, biology with lab, general science, chemistry with lab, history 1, 2, and 3, community service project 1, 2, and 3, foreign language 1, 2, and 3, life skills 1, 2, and 3, and then religion 1, 2, and 3. So how I got all those, then I have the credits that were earned, the grade, and the GPA. So how could I translate, let's say, English out of just reading? Well, I had my daughter keep a reading log, okay? I also was able to know that from looking at older books on homeschooling that there are several subjects you can cover out of true literature. Now, not the snippets that we're getting in the Common Core way of teaching, but true classic books. So she kept a log. We did all kinds of things that centered around it. But one of the things from this book, and she has different things categorized so that if you're having trouble trying to figure out where to put something on a transcript, you actually absolutely can. Okay, for example, she goes, to use for grades. All right, let's see here. One of the ones that she used for grades that I'm trying to look for really quick, and I'm sorry that I didn't already have this laid out for you. It's been a while since I've done any sort of this homeschooling guidance. Okay, so she has serving in the community. Well, that can go under not only that can go under community service. It can also go towards English because you're using communication skills. You're also using life skills. If that community service project involves any sort of foreign language. Now, the question is, okay, so I'm going to use something like that for grades. How do I determine what gets a credit? That is totally up to you. Some choices could be you could use 180 hours. Some say you could use, 9 weeks or a time element as opposed to hours earned, that sort of thing. So there are all kinds of ways that you can figure out how you want to award credits. We can go certainly into that much more if you want to. But now, since Corrine had some big questions about how misleading the groups in Texas have been towards home education, I went and did some research, okay? The Texas Education Association says that homeschooling has been legal since 1994. Now, I've got a question for you guys. How old or how long has it been legal in your state, because it is legal in all 50 states. Okay, so that's one thing. If you're considering homeschooling, how long has it been legal? You want to check into the state organizations that help represent you. Now, I will tell you that the Texas Home Education Association is terribly misleading their homeschooling families, because they're embracing not only the AP, courses, they're embracing the IB schools and courses, the dual enrollment, especially through the local colleges. They're embracing the STEM and the career tech education. And all of these have been proven out, not only by myself, but by others, to be in the Common Core machine. So when we have homeschooling groups at a state level or at a national level, like the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, pushing these sorts of things, we're seeing them push home educators who wanted to stay out of the system right into the system. Okay, and the reason I know that the Homeschooling Legal Defense Association is pushing all this is because I've gone back and looked at their website, and I've also heard key officials from their organization at homeschooling conventions lay out so much misinformation about where Common Core is in home education and where it's not. In some of their documentation, they are wrong on the number of states. They claim it is only in English and math, which that is totally wrong. They embrace and endorse the AP courses. They also tell you as an encouragement to have your child take the ACT or the SAT or the GED, all of which are absolutely Common Core aligned. They encourage career development, internships, and apprenticeships as well. Dual enrollment is especially one of the HSLDA's biggest champions. They claim that college and career readiness has never been defined. It absolutely has. And the way that it has been defined is through the Common Core state standards on your Race to the Top applications. If you look under the Common Core state standards in your Race to the Top application, you will see it is defined as college and career readiness in language. So yes, college and career readiness has been defined. HSLDA also is a huge supporter of ed savings accounts, and education savings accounts have been proven to attach money to the data that is harvested off your child as they either enter from homeschooling into the more traditional system, or as they are in the traditional system all along. They are especially supportive of Ted Cruz's bill, which is Senate Bill 3102. There's been a lot of research and blowback on this particular bill, because it is showing how the money makes more of a data trail so that your child can be aligned to college and career readiness. Okay, now I'm not picking on Homeschool Legal Defense Association. I understand that there are several people who think they are fabulous. However, I know from personal experience, as well as having several parents who have come to me and said, they did not help me, that they are not the homeschooling friend that you believe that they are. Okay, some of the sites or sources that were cited in the Homeschool Legal Defense Association website, as well as some of their papers: College Board, STEM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, the U.S. Department of Education, Chester Finn and Bill Bennett, K through 12 Inc., which is a terrible, terrible misleading entity for home educators. The Cato Institute and Heritage. Now, Cato and Heritage are on not only the education savings account bandwagon, but they are also on the school choice bandwagon. And this lets me know, if they've read Every Student Succeeds Act, they will know that school choice is absolutely not even possible through the mandatory language that says all education must be aligned to the same thing. Okay, so those are just some things that I noticed while helping look to steer Corinne and I's conversation. Also, I found out for her, since she is in Texas, and again, if you guys have questions from other states, please let me know. Homeschoolers are exempt from compulsory requirements of traditional private ed. Now, it doesn't say that they're exempt from the compulsory requirements for public education. So that would be something that you would need to look at. Homeschoolers in Texas must follow good citizenship course of study. Now, here in North Carolina, in the homeschooling, it's not recommended that you follow any course of study other than what you want to plan out. There are recommendations if you do plan to send your child to a public university or a private university. There are suggested courses of study, but there's not anything that says, hey, you must follow it. Okay, depending on what school district you're in, they may require written assurance that you did home educate, which is why I showed you that letter that I had. Let me show it to you again. Okay, this was simply a letter, who it may concern. This was about my child's being able to prove that she actually not only was homeschooled, but that she actually was learning something. So, anyway, anytime the district asks you for assurance or for proof, try to not be begrudging because I understand sometimes they come at you hostilely, but if you respond in hostile manner, things are not going to go well. For example, way back when we started homeschooling, in the state of Florida, and the superintendent, I believe it was, in our county, frowned very much upon home educators because in his mind, we were diverting taxpayer funds from the school, and we shouldn't be able to do that. Well, I looked at him and I said, you know what? Actually, we're saving the school district taxpayer money because we're funding the education all on our own. We never asked for a tax credit. And that's another thing that homeschoolers need to steer clear of. Anytime you demand a tax credit for your education, and this would be part of where the ed savings accounts comes in, what you're actually doing is you're paying in your taxpayer dollar to a government who's going to hand it right back to you and then stick mandates on it, which we've seen happen across the states who've used it. It's terrible. It's letting the government take a foot in the door where they have no business. So that leads me to something else. Exercise your Fourth Amendment right when you homeschool, okay? You don't have to let them in. You don't have to let them in, okay? As far as back transitioning in Texas from homeschool to high school, more traditional system that Corrine had been asking about, you can enter a public system via your district policies and procedures. And I would suggest, even if you're not in Texas, what are the district policies and procedures if you're transitioning from homeschooling into the public system? And let's remember, the public system encompasses magnet schools, IB schools. It also encompasses charter schools. So it's not just the public school system. Okay? Now, if you do transition per the district policies and procedures, know that your child will be subject to mastery-based assessments. So if they've never taken a mastery-based assessment before, this would be the first time they would see one. That can go really well or not so much. But let's remember, the mastery-based assessments, ladies and gentlemen, pigeonhole them into what courses they are going to go through. Now, let's see if I can get Corinne in here now. Let's see. Maybe nope, she's not showing up. Oh, poo. All right, let's see. I am trying so hard to get Corinne to come on with me. We'll figure this out, guys. Okay. Now, the mastery-based assessments will not only pigeonhole them for careers and their coursework, they're going to be used they are going to be used for credit and our grade placement. All right, let's see here. All right, Corrine, let's see. Let's see, hang on. Um, all right, let's see here. I'm trying to get her to come on. All right, it also said that homeschool students must be afforded the same treatment as any unaccredited private school. Okay, this is for Texas. If you're not in Texas, what treatment will your homeschool student get? It might be positive, or it might be full of, hey, you need to show us this, you need to show us that. All right. To complete homeschool in Texas, it is the same as if you are a public graduate. All right. And as such, any post-secondary education institution must treat you as the homeschooler with general standards, including assessment requirements, as everybody else. Okay. As a homeschooler in Texas, you have the option to accredit your school and or align to the Texas education standards, which are known as the TEKS. Okay. You might even have to submit a portfolio, which would mean some of your students' work. Districts may require assurance from you that you are actually learning. And then they cite a learner reason code number 60 that you need to sign and date with the letter of the child's having been taught. You need to make sure you include the beginning date, and you might be subject to a review of what curriculum and assessments your student has had. Now, again, that was just for Texas. We have other states that have different requirements for home educators as well. But again, if you're transitioning from homeschool into the more traditional school, again, ask yourself, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because it's best for your child, which should be the ultimate goal for every decision you make in homeschooling? Are you doing it for ease of convenience? Or you think that you're missing out on something by homeschooling them? I will tell you, three daughters, three pre-K through 12th grade education journeys. My children did not miss out on one thing. They had proms, they had community projects, they had tough courses, they had they had most everything that their counterparts in a more traditional system had. But they also had the one thing that their counterparts did not have, and that was the freedom. And that's what this is about. So when you're making that decision, if you do make that decision to transition from homeschool into a more traditional system, be willing to face the fact that you're going to sacrifice freedom. You're also going to sacrifice beliefs. And is that really worth it just to have that public school diploma? All right, I'm going to see if I can catch up with Corrine. Thank you guys so much for watching. And look, if there's anything else that I can give you as far as information on home education, don't hesitate to ask me. I've got 23 years experience. Probably half of that is in the guise of not only homeschool mom, but co-op teacher, leader, as well as a support group leader and speaker. All right, guys, have a great day. Okay.